DJ Lagway is practicing. Earlier this week, it was reported, or last week, I guess now it's Sunday, it was reported that DJ Lagway has suffered some type of leg injury. Some reporting an ankle, some reporting a calf. We don't really know which one it is. I don't think we still know exactly what it is. But what we do know is that yesterday at the open practice the Gators held for Florida Victoria members and the media, DJ Lagway was throwing the ball in warm-ups. Throwing it, had some nice deep balls to Trey Wilson, was throwing the short stuff to all the receivers, Khalil Jackson as well. I know he got his injury about a month ago, so it's nice to see DJ Lagway. He didn't participate in the 11-on-11, so that's something that we'll wait and see when he starts doing that. But he was there, and there was so much breakdown. Maybe not so much breakdown, but so much worry about, okay, it's another injury a month before this season. We waited all of spring practice and he didn't play. And it's like, okay, he's finally healthy. He was at SEC Media Days talking about how he feels great. And now he's injured again. How long is this one going to take? Well, they had the practice on that Wednesday, the first one, or Thursday. And he just missed the one or two practices. But then he was out there throwing the ball in front of all the fans. Had some nice passes, as I said. But this really is going to ease the minds and hearts of a lot of Gator fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, luckily it seems this one wasn't too serious. Probably seems like he's back on track to be fine by the start of the season. But, I mean, I think some of that worry was kind of warranted. I mean, I kind of had a pretty similar reaction when I heard about this because it's not that any of the injuries are like particularly bad or things you're worried about being recurring. It's just that they keep stacking up for a guy who's only started 7 games. He's been dealing with a lot of things and a lot of different things. Obviously had the hamstring last season, had the shoulder in the spring, had the surgery for the sports hernia, which I don't know if we've gotten complete clarity on that, but it sounds like that was maybe a lingering thing from high school. And then the calf sprain, obviously, that he's dealing with now. So, I mean, just another thing. And I mean, it does concern you, especially for a guy who, does use his legs or is at least at his best when he's using his legs. I think keeping him healthy and protected is going to be probably priority number one this season. Luckily, Florida has what should be a very good offensive line. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to see him obviously back out there. I mean, it's kind of hard to believe, but that, in practice yesterday was the first time he's thrown in practice, in a practice setting all off season in 2025. So, obviously,
well, there was some debate about that.
Was there?
So on Friday, you had, I think, Zach Alverde reported that he was throwing in the practice facility. And then you had Nick Delatore report that he didn't throw at practice. Maybe it's just a confusion of this was in the practice facility, not necessarily with practice.
Yeah.
And that might be where the confusion of, okay, he did or he didn't practice was coming from. But we can say for sure, we all saw it with our own eyes.
Yeah.
Or he saw it on Twitter. People saw it with their own eyes that he was throwing on Saturday.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's fair. There was a little bit of kind of conflicting reporting there. But either way, whether it was Friday or whether it was Saturday, that's the first time Lagway has thrown in a practice setting in 2025. So, I mean, that's obviously huge to see. We knew he resumed in, I think, June, but we never, that was obviously after the end of spring practice. So, nice that he's at least finally able to start getting rapport with some of these guys, with the freshman receivers and J. Michael Sturdivant. Because he hadn't been able to do that. Out of the walking boot, obviously had, like you said, the sleeve on his leg. But, I mean, obviously seems like progress at the very least. I mean, is it a little concerning? Sure. I mean, no one wants to see Lagway injured. And the fact that it's kind of just these things that are continuing to nag him, like not what you love to see. But, in terms of this specific injury, I'm not really worried. I think he'll be fine. It's just, can he get through a season without dealing with more of these? And we'll just have to see.
Yeah, reports that I heard, so you can see the little compression sleeve on his left leg. From what I was told, that at this practice, he wore it the entire time, and there was no pain, there was no immobility. He was fully good on his leg, and nothing really happened. Maybe if he takes the sleeve off, he'll feel some pain, but from what I heard, everything went really good. So I'm hoping that means here within the next week or so that he's fully practicing, that
Yeah.
he's practicing in the 11-on-11s, running with the team, getting ready for that week 1 game against Long Island. And, hopefully in a week or so, we're not here even talking about, okay, Lagway's healthy. We just know it's just a given until it's not a given.
Yeah. And I mean, it'd be huge if he's able, if he's able to finish out the rest of fall camp, because we don't, I mentioned this before, but DJ Lagway needs the reps. DJ Lagway needs to practice. There's things he needs to work on. He needs to build chemistry with the receivers, like I was just saying. There were shortcomings in his game last year that if he's going to take that step to being a Heisman contender level quarterback, that he needs to work on. So, that is a concern to me that he didn't get the entire offseason, because in theory, this should have been such a huge opportunity for him to improve, because, you go into the offseason, you're the incumbent starter the entire time. It's not like last year where, you're probably seeing less reps than Graham Mertz is. Not probably, you are seeing less reps than Graham Mertz is. Now, he was going to get all those reps himself. I mean, I guess it's good that they're going to Harrison Bailey if we're going to have injury concerns, at least till I've gotten a decent amount of offseason reps. But yeah, I mean, Lagway really needs to get the work in if he's going to take that leap, because I think we all believe in him and we all think he's got the potential to be really, really good. But if he's the same quarterback he was last year, that's not going to be something Florida can lean on to go 11-1. He's going to throw some interceptions and make some mistakes if he doesn't improve.
Yeah, I see what you mean. He needs some reps. I think, though, a lot of Lagway, what he needed to improve on was watching film. He said it last year, or he said it at at the media days. He had never seen his zone coverage going into his freshman year in college.
Yeah.
And you learn a lot of that. Obviously, you need to get some reps, but you learn a lot of that by watching film and learning when he needs to take the takedown, getting that mental clock of when he needs to escape the pocket. I mean, some of that you do learn on the field, but I think a lot of what Lagway needed to improve on was learning, just learning that off the field stuff and watching film.
Yeah.
And although I do agree with you, he needs to build connections with his receivers, because I think something that was maybe one of Lagway's best parts of his game last year was he knew he could trust his receivers to throw him open. You saw all the time last year, or at the end of last year especially, where he would throw the ball before the route would even break, because he knew Badger or DK were going to create enough separation. They have enough speed to get to the exact point where Lagway was putting the ball. Happened a lot, especially against LSU. There's 3 passes that we might not win that game if he doesn't make those passes, which a lot of QBs don't make. That's throwing with anticipation. And, bring it up all the time about Lagway, he's going to throw interceptions. True freshman QB, he throws those interceptions, but still, he had more interceptions than he had turnover-worthy plays, which a lot of QBs, it's the opposite. So I think that's something that maybe is a bit over, it's a bit, what am I trying to say here? Not overlooked.
Overstated.
Overstated, yeah, a bit maybe overstated about Lagway's game.
Yeah, I mean, that is fair. But I mean, I think overall, I think that boom or bust nature is kind of why he wasn't as efficient as you maybe would have liked him to be. I mean, obviously there's two extremes. I think Graham Mertz was kind of hyper efficient, but you didn't get the explosivity. And I think we would all agree that the offensive product, with Lagway, even with the inconsistency, I think we would all agree that was the preferable offensive product for the most part. And so, but I mean, because, Lagway completing less than 60% of his passes, but averaging 16 yards of completion, if he can just take those checkdowns a few more times, I think it's good that he's looking downfield and wanting to make big plays. But I think you're right. I think the main thing he needs to work on is understanding the times you don't need to do that. And I think he'll get better. But I mean, there were interceptions he threw too that were just, guy wasn't where where Lagway thought he was going to be, or he just didn't see a defender.
Yeah.
Defender came out of nowhere to him. And then those are the things that I just I don't worry about those things. I just think they're things that he would work out very quickly with the offseason reps. And because he hasn't had those, he's going to have to get comfortable very quickly in season. And hopefully, he's watched enough film and learned enough, even when he hasn't been able to participate, that he'll be fine.
Yep, absolutely. Right here, Mark. Almost all
Yeah.
of his miscues were short to intermediate throws. The mistakes are correctable. Film study, but also footwork, which his hamstring may have control, contributes. Yeah, which may have contributed. Yeah, I mean, it is because how many times do we see Lagway throw an interception on a deep ball? I mean, I think the FSU game, but that was his receiver running the wrong route, which I think with Lagway throwing, he throws with so much anticipation of his receivers doing the right thing that if the receiver runs the wrong route, do you put that on Lagway? I don't really think so.
No. Well, I mean,
No.
not necessarily, at least. It depends on, it's hard to say, like, because we don't know exactly what happened, but yeah.
Rob, 3 of his interceptions were on end of games and half trying to make a play. I worry not about his decision making. Yeah, I don't. There's a couple plays that make you worry about it, but I mean, the 2 against Tulane are really the ones that come to mind.
Like, he still had 6 interceptions in like 7 games aside from, like, I'm not arguing. Like, I agree, Rob. I'm not worried about his decision making, but like, it could be better. I mean, he was a true freshman quarterback in the SEC.
Yeah, it could be better. I think, well, you look at the Miami game, he had the 1 interception there where he throws it like right away and it's just hit. The game's over. O-line isn't blocking. I mean, it was Cam Waits blocking for him, I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't know if you put that on Lagway's decision making. He had a Hail Mary attempt against A&M at the end of half. You don't put that on decision making. Spirito falls when he's throwing the ball to him. So I don't think that's also either on decision making. The first real interception, I think, was the Tennessee game. And then he had the 1 versus Kentucky, those 2. None versus Georgia. None versus LSU, although he had one that probably should have been a pick. Then he had the tipped pass dropped tip from DK, a little high, but probably should have been caught by DK. And then the 1 versus FSU we just talked about, and the 2 versus Tulane. So really, it's probably like 3 or 4 you put on his 4 or 5 maybe. You put on his decision making. So I'm not too worried about it either.
Sure, but it's like, but you can do this with every quarterback. Like, you can justify and explain. I'm just, and is it, completed below 60%? Like, I'm just saying, like, this is not me trying to criticize DJ Lagway. This is just me saying that it is unfortunate that he wasn't able to throw more this offseason.
Do you remember a dropped interception versus Georgia?
Not specifically, but I also don't remember these interceptions as vividly as you remember all of them. So
yeah. Thanks. I mean, I'm looking back at the Georgia game because, going back to the Georgia game, the first drive, it was the slip by ball in the third or second, like 2nd and 1 or 3rd and 1 where ball slips. And then, I don't think there was a dropped interception there. Oh, okay. I think on the second drive, it was close. I think like it was a linebacker like reached back for it. Sorry, I just lost. Can you say something? Sorry.
Yeah, nothing changed on my end.
Oh,
everything seems normal.
Sorry, my headphones just said disconnected and then connected again. Okay. That was weird. All right, we're good. But I think the 1 versus Georgia was less of a drop. But like, I mean, it's not that many. He also played less snaps than a full-time starter. So maybe there could have been more, but we'll see. He obviously needs to improve on some things. And I think even with Lagway from last year, I still think you're in a really good QB who could still make a playoff push. Probably not make a title push, but I think this Lagway from last year is still a QB that could bring you to that playoff contention.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, I think if you got end of season Lagway, especially healthy for the entirety of last season, you could pretty easily talk me into 2 of those games flipping, and then Florida's in that conversation last year. So yeah, I mean, I think if the defense is what we think it's going to be, for sure. I just read these comments and I see y'all being like 12-0, and I'm like, okay, but if it's going to be 12-0, I think that's going to require a level of DJ Lagway that, an elevation of where he was last season.